this building was the Bowman School. A young girl was harshly beaten by one of the teachers. The young girl's name was Star, and she was a young Chinese girl. And one day she came to school wearing trousers. And when she went into the girl's bathroom, the teacher thought a boy was sneaking into the girl's washroom. So she followed her in and unfortunately beat the young girl. The story goes that Star cried for days following the event. And if you ever go near where the old girl's washroom used to be, you can actually still hear crying sound of a young girl. I have told this story to many classes and groups over the years, and after one telling, a young woman came up to me afterwards and said, Thank you for finally telling me that story." She said she had taken many classes here when this was the Bowman Art Gallery, and she and her friends had heard strange noises, sounding like somebody crying. When they had gone to the instructors and told them what they heard, they were just simply told, "You're imagining things," or "It's only the wind." But she said finally now she had an explanation and she knew what she'd been hearing. Two things you should probably never have at the same time is a husband and a boyfriend. Mrs. Lazard broke that rule in 1910 and it led to death in Lethbridge. Walsall Choberter was convinced by his girlfriend to murder her husband. So he waited in the dark between Hardyville and Lethbridge for Alex Lazard to come home from work. When Alex and Walsall met, there in the dark space between the two communities, a fight broke out. Alex grabbed a stick and hit Walsall over the head. Walsall pulled out a gun and shot Alex 3 times. He thought he had killed him, so he left him there thinking he was dead. Incredibly, Alex was still alive, and he managed to crawl back on his hands and knees a mile back to Hardyville to get help. They gave him medical attention, put him in a wagon, and took him into the Galt Hospital. In the Galt Hospital, Alex Lazard passed away, but not before announcing that Walsall was his murderer. Walsall Choberter was arrested, tried, and convicted of murdering Alex Lazard. And he was executed here in Lethbridge, being the only man to ever be executed right here in the city of Lethbridge. Back in those days, we followed British tradition. And British tradition was to put the grave as close to the gallows as possible. So what they actually did is they built the gallows and put the grave right underneath, so that when Alex was hanged, he dropped right into his own grave. Then they simply covered him up and quick-climbed the body, and he was done. Now, where did they do this execution? They did it in the stable yards of the Mounted Police. Now, the Mounted Police remained in the same spot from 1886 to this year, till 2021. So here where we are in the middle of Civic Centre, somewhere Walsall was executed. Where precisely? Well, from the best we know, it was actually right here where Fritzick Pool is. So the grave of Walsall is under the pool today. And they say if you're ever here at Fritzick Pool and you see strange bubbles in the water, that's simply Walsall saying hello.